In the summer of 2010, a group of adventurers set out to explore a remote island in the Pacific, rumored to be one of the last untouched places on Earth. The island, called Kauai, was said to be cursed, but the adventurers dismissed the stories as superstitions. They were experienced travelers, and they had heard tales like these before. The island was stunning, with lush jungles, towering cliffs, and pristine beaches. But as they explored, they found signs that the island had once been inhabited. Ruins of ancient stone structures were scattered across the landscape, overgrown with vines and moss. They had stumbled upon a forgotten piece of history. The adventurers were thrilled. As they ventured deeper into the island, they discovered a massive stone altar surrounded by carvings that depicted strange, twisted figures. The carvings told the story of an ancient tribe that had worshipped a sea god, offering sacrifices in exchange for protection from the ocean's wrath. But something had gone wrong. The tribe had angered the god, and he had cursed them, condemning them to an eternity of torment. That night, the group decided to camp near the altar, eager to continue their exploration in the morning. But as the night fell, they began to hear whispers, faint at first, but growing louder as the hours passed. The whispers seemed to come from the very ground beneath them, speaking in a language none of them understood. Suddenly, one of the adventurers, Mark, began to scream. He pointed to the sand around the altar, where something was moving skeletal hands, clawing their way out of the ground. The adventurers tried to flee, but they were surrounded by the rising dead, the cursed tribe, their bodies twisted and broken, their eyes empty sockets of despair. The adventurers fought desperately, but one by one they were dragged into the sand, their screams echoing into the night. By morning, the island was silent once more. The only sign of the horror that had occurred the disturbed earth around the altar. The adventurers were never seen again. The island remains a forbidden place, a land where the dead do not rest, and where the ocean's curse lives on. To this day, those who dare to approach Kauai hear the whispers of the forgotten tribe, warning them to leave before they too are claimed by the cursed sands. The town of Coral Haven had always been a quiet place, where the locals knew each other by name and tourists came to enjoy the serene beauty of its beaches. The silent shore was different. It was beautiful, but there was a strange, unsettling aura about it. People would come to the beach, and some would never leave. One summer, a group of teenagers from a nearby town decided to spend the night camping on the silent shore. They built a bonfire, laughed, and told ghost stories, unaware that they were about to become part of one. As midnight approached, the wind picked up, and the ocean began to churn violently. One by one, the teenagers started hearing whispers, soft and unintelligible at first, but growing louder and more insistent. The whispers seemed to come from the ocean itself, calling them to the water. Unable to resist the pull, one of the boats, Kevin, walked towards the ocean. His friends tried to stop him, but he was in a trance, unresponsive to their pleas. He waded into the water all with the same expression of fear. The town was in a state of panic. Some believed it was the work of a vengeful spirit. Others thought it was a curse. The local police could find no explanation, and eventually the beach was closed to the public. But the drownings didn't stop. Even after the beach was deserted, the bodies kept appearing. Locals whispered that the souls of the drowned had become part of the ocean, doomed to drag others to the same watery fate. To this day, the silent shore remains abandoned, a place where only the wind and waves dare to venture. In a remote corner of Greece, there is a beach that does not appear on any map. The locals call it the Lost Bay, and for good reason. The beach is beautiful, with crystal clear waters and soft white sand, but it is also deadly. Over the years, many have gone missing after visiting the Lost Bay. Their bodies never found. The stories say that a siren lives in the waters. Her song's so beautiful that it drives men to madness. Those who hear it are compelled to walk into the ocean, where they are pulled under by the siren's embrace, never to be seen again. In the summer of 2005, a group of 4 friends on a backpacking trip through Europe stumbled upon the Lost Bay. They were looking for a place to relax and unwind after weeks of traveling, and the secluded beach seemed perfect. They set up camp and spent the day swimming, sunbathing, and exploring the area. As the sun began to set, they heard a strange sound like music, but more haunting. It seemed to come from the ocean, a melody so beautiful that it sent shivers down their spines. One of the friends, Sophie, was particularly affected by the music. She felt drawn to it, as if it were calling her. That night, unable to sleep, Sophie walked to the water's edge, where the music was loudest. Her friends woke to find her gone. In the distance, they saw her walking into the ocean, her eyes glazed over, her movements slow and deliberate. They screamed for her to stop, but it was as if she couldn't hear them. She walked into the water until she was completely submerged. The friends ran after her, but by the time they reached the shore, Sophie had disappeared. They searched frantically, but there was no trace of her. In the days that followed, they scoured the beach and the surrounding area, but Sophie was never found. The locals told them about the siren, warning them to leave before they too were taken. The remaining friends left Greece, but the memory of Sophie's disappearance haunted them for the rest of their lives. They never spoke of what happened at the Lost Bay, but they could never forget the sound of the siren's call.